Today I am doing a day in the life. So here I am waking up at 8 a.m. and getting ready for the day. I, of course, brush my teeth, wash my face, everything like that, and then shower and get dressed. So here's today's fit. By 8:45, I usually get breakfast going and put a little TV show on while I'm eating. This is How I Met Your Mother. Usually at some point in the morning, I clean up around the house. Last night was the Super Bowl. Like the night I recorded this, the next morning was after the Super Bowl. So I had a lot of dishes to do. Here I am cleaning up, and then usually in this time I'll vacuum, fold some laundry, and stuff like that. Then my buddy Danielle and I went to go get coffee at Linden.
So this place is Linden Coffee, and they're doing a special because yesterday was the Super Bowl, that if you pull up to the window and say "Go Birds," you get, if you get another coffee, it's free. So I got a coffee and Danielle got a coffee. So if we say "Go Birds," one of them's free.
Hello.
Hi.
What's the name for your order?
Casey and Go Birds. Oh, it's good.
Right, there's the chai.
Perfect. Thank you. Could we get a straw for that? Thank you.
There you go. Have a great day.
Yeah, you too. Alright. Coffee secured. Now we're headed to the range. Look at that. Left turn. No traffic.
By 10:30, I was at the range, and first thing I did was warm up. So here are all the stretches I do. I have this sped up a little bit, but everything is dynamic, making sure I am feeling warmed up. It's not good to go into shooting cold. That can definitely cause injuries. I started off my practice getting a sight mark at 25 meters. I am currently in Chicago while I'm posting this, so Thursday night is a 25 meter shoot. So here I am getting my sight marks, making sure I am shooting good shots and feeling ready for that event. 25 meter shoots aren't that common. It's kind of a special round, so I'm excited for the 25 meter round in Chicago. It'll definitely be something different to change things up, not the usual just 60 arrows on a 40 centimeter. After my morning practice, I went to lunch with my mom. We went to Fox Meadows, which is right by her office in Leola, so picked her up, ate lunch, and then dropped her off. And then I was back to the range for my afternoon practice. I also brought Danielle some lunch, so I dropped that off for her and then went over to the range. Here I am testing out different apertures. So here's a smaller one that I normally use. I felt good about that round, 298. This is the one I usually use. It's 3/8 of an inch, and I felt like during nationals I was aiming a little loose. The score here was a 296. So I tried the small one again, but I painted it gold, so the difference of color wasn't that stark. And I ended up going with this. I shot a few more rounds that day and was consistent like between 296 and 298. So I was feeling really good about that. During nationals this last weekend, I felt like I had a lot of close nines that were like just out that I think were due to my aiming being a little loose. So having the smaller aperture, I feel like I can aim a little more precisely, but not feel like I'm over aiming. Like I'm not focusing too much on aiming. I'm just letting my shot flow. So here, during practice, I'm just focusing on having smooth shots, making sure everything in my form is good, and then also my mental process is lining up with my shot, and everything was feeling really good. So here I did a little arrow count check, then I took a break before my lesson with Heather. Heather and I usually have lessons 4 to 5 days a week, and so here we're just working on everything, getting it all ready for Chicago. And then at round 5, I took a break and read this article. This is something Heather found on self-discipline in athletes. And I'm definitely working on certain things with my self-discipline. The biggest thing is saying no. I tend to say yes to a lot of things that interrupt my practice. To round off my practice day, I did some blank bail. When I blank bail, I like to close my eyes because I feel like it takes away that sense from my shot. Like when you're normally shooting right, you have your eyes open, and that's something that your brain is having to like put effort into. Whereas when I close my eyes, I feel like I'm very much so focusing on the feel of my shot or my mental process, and so it really helps me feel if I'm like making little mistakes in my form or things like that, because those senses of like feeling are heightened. So I shot, I think, another like 30 arrows to finish off my day with some blank bail. Overall, this was a pretty normal practice day for me, having like a morning session, taking a break for lunch, and then a longer afternoon session. It's pretty usual for me. I like to break it up a little bit. That way I'm not shooting so many arrows all at once. And then final arrow count for the day was 225, and I went back to my house and made some dinner. I, again, like to watch shows while I eat, so here's How I Met Your Mother again. Then I put on some comfy clothes, did emails, and edited this video. And here is the thumbnail. And then by the time I was done with all that, it was about ready for bed. I go to bed pretty early, I'll be honest. I usually go to bed between 9:30 and 10 most nights. But before I finally go to bed, I make sure to journal. Now, when I journal, I usually write about my shooting that day. So I write 3 things I did well, how I did them well, and 3 things I want to improve about that practice and how to improve them. And then I usually jot down some notes about what I worked on. Like if I worked on something specific during my lesson or did scoring rounds, I write down those scores, things like that. That way, when I'm in future practices or at competitions, I can go back and see what I did that was really good that day, or if I'm struggling with something, how I worked through what I struggled with. And so keeping a log of this really helps me to kind of self-diagnose some things and work on my shot. Then it was bedtime. Thanks for following along.